Okay, so welcome to Young Women's Yoga. This is my favorite kind of yoga to teach. I am in the Stake Young Women's Presidency in my stake, and so I try to go to all the wards. So this is fun. I am going to move back to my mat, and let's all find a comfortable seat. So this is one place where your folded blanket or towel will come in handy, and you have a couple of options for how to sit. And so you could just have it pretty flat like this. And then you'll sit with your bony part of your bum right on the folded edge of your blanket. And then you can find a comfortable cross-legged position there. You could have your feet underneath your shins, or I like to put one heel in front of the other. Okay, so that's option number one, to find a comfortable seat while I talk a little bit. Option number two is to kneel. Okay, so it might feel good to fold your prop a little bit more and bring your bum to your folded prop as you kneel. So just do whatever thing feels most comfortable for your hips and your knees. Okay, so either cross-legged or kneeling. But I recommend you sit on something so that your spine can be tall. And we'll just talk a little bit about like what yoga is, what it means, and some of the beautiful truths that we understand even more clearly than, even
You have
those
to turn it on then, man.
yogis that kind of started this practice. It's definitely evolved over time. I'm just going to mute everyone. But the word yoga means union or to yoke. So it means to have things work in unity together. So the practice of yoga, it's not just like in America, we think of it as, bendy ladies doing bendy things. But really, the whole purpose is to help our mind and our body and our spirit all work in unison. And the movement part is just one little part of yoga. There are 8 limbs, and the first 2 limbs talk about, they're basically like the 10 Commandments. Take care of your body, be kind to other people, don't lie, don't steal, study the scriptures. All of these things that are lifestyle things that we should do. Okay? And there's 10 of those things. And then there's pranayama, which is breath and paying attention to your breath. And then there's the movement part. And then there's all the meditation things too. But what today we're really going to focus on is breathing and moving our bodies. So I want you to find a tall seat and just close your eyes. And just bring your awareness to your breath. And you don't need to do anything to change it. Just notice how deeply your breath wants to come in, how smoothly or jaggedly it comes out. You can notice the temperature of the air, if it wants to come in and out of your nose or your mouth. Right. And just the act of paying attention to your breath will start to change it a little bit. So we're going to do a little bit of an experiment. I want you just to put one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. Okay. And just to start, we're just going to breathe fast and high. I just want you to breathe up into your top hand. So just think of where that top hand is in your chest. And just breathe fast in that top part of your chest. Notice how your body reacts, how your heart reacts. You can breathe in and out of your nose or your mouth. And then stop that fast and high breathing. Just let your breath come to natural breathing. Right, and just, how would you describe that fast and high breathing? This chest breathing is where a lot of our neural receptors for our fight or flight responses. So even just the act of breathing up here really creates a stress response in your body. You might have felt it hard to breathe, or maybe your heart started beating faster. Now I want you to start to invite your breath all the way down as deep in your lungs as you can, and see if you can push your hand on your belly away as you breathe in and let it come back as you breathe out. And you can think about your rib cage expanding in all directions. See if you can inhale to a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause at the top of your inhale, and then exhale. 2, 3, 4, and pause at the bottom of your exhale. And keep following that rhythm. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, into that hand on your belly, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. And the natural breath mantra that your body chants is hum on the inhale. So you can think that. Hum, H-A-M. And saw on the exhale, S-A-H. And what that means is, I am that. I am that part of me that has always existed. I am that part of me that is intimately connected with the divine. So that's what your body's saying every time you take a breath in and a breath out. Right? It means I am a child of God. The very act of breathing. You can go ahead and release your hands from your body and see if you can keep that smooth, long inhale and smooth, complete exhale. Connected to the meaning of what it is to breathe, that your body is saying, I am a child of God. Right, and it's this life force energy that comes with your breath, right? That's what made Adam alive when he was created, that he was given the breath of life when he had a body. And this body temple that you have. So just take one more round of breath there. You can release your eyes, like open your eyes. Just move your hands. If you're sitting on your prop, just move it out from underneath you and slide it to the side. We're gonna bring our hands behind us and just bring your feet in front of you. And you know, this is not an exact science here. I'm just propping my hands behind me, feet in front of me. And we're just gonna windshield wiper our knees from side to side. So just start to get into your hips. We're just gonna warm up a little bit here. And just get acquainted, right? So we're not really moving our bodies to try to sculpt or change them in any way, right? Our whole goal here is to really experience and enjoy our bodies, right? That's the purpose. It's not to change what we've got, but to enjoy what Heavenly Father has created for us. And the more we move and use our bodies, the more freedom we have, right? The more capable we are. And so that's our goal, is to fulfill the measure of our creation. And all of us are so different. Body shapes and sizes are all amazing and different, right? And some of us are really good runners, really good swimmers. Some of us are better at moving slowly. We all have different capacities, and that's amazing. And part of this is that we want to celebrate that. Let's let our twists get a little bit bigger. So as you come to one side, you can just let your opposite arm reach around. And then we'll go the other way. So you're just going to start to reach here and really think about reaching from the center of your back. As you reach with this arm, think of this arm all connected to your shoulder blade on your back. And you might kind of start walking yourself forward on your sit bones as you rock from side to side. That's just kind of how it goes. Totally fine. All right. Let's go side to side one more time here. And then we'll come on to our hands and knees. So just rock your way onto your hands and knees. And just set up your shoulders over your wrists, your hips over your knees. And just drop your head and then lift your head. And then do that a couple of times. And then you can maybe find some circles of your neck. Go one way and then the other. And bring your head to neutral and just look from side to side. And then find yourself just in a neutral position. Keep your head in neutral. Shoulders are over your wrists. And we're going to find some cat and cow. So we'll start with cow. So lift your sitting bones up. Let your belly totally relax and hang. So culturally, we think that we should just suck our bellies in all the time. I want you to totally relax your belly and just kind of let it hang. Look up. Stick your bum up. All right, now start with your tailbone and just tuck your tailbone under. And then let your pelvis tuck under. See if you can round through your spine. Push the floor away, tuck your chin. Okay, well, this is our cat. And now you can suck your belly in and really engage. Start with your tailbone and we're going to go back to our cow. See if you can move just one piece of your spine at a time. So move your pelvis and then let your belly sink. Then let your lower ribs sink, let your heart sink, lift your gaze. And start with your tailbone to tuck under and find your cat. Now you can move a little bit faster. You can connect this with your breath. inhale as you let your belly sink and you look forward. Exhale as you round. And we'll just do one more in each direction there. And see if you can find the middle place between those two extremes. Okay. We're going to just do some work with our wrists really quick. So you've got your hands on the floor and you can bring your weight back into your knees a little bit more. I'm going to push into my fingers and just lift my palms and my thumbs up. Okay, so my palms and thumbs are coming up and then I'm going to place them back down. Okay, lift palms and thumbs up and then place them back down. Now, if that feels really easy, then you can start to rock more weight over your wrists and maybe bring your shoulders over your wrists. And do that maybe one more time. And then release. Just kind of sit back on your heels. You can shake that out. And now we're going to take our fingers and externally rotate our hands. And then bring your hands to the floor with your fingers pointing back. And then you can let your elbows bend a little bit. Now, this is all super good for these times where we're spending a lot of time on computers. All of our connection with other people is digital. We spend time on our phones texting. We really need to find the range of motion in our hands and our wrists. Okay, now we're going to lift up our palms. And you can sit back on your heels a little bit. And you're just going to take your thumbs and kind of swirl them in little circles. Like you can think about stirring with your thumbs. Okay, so fingers on the floor and lift your palms and stir with your thumbs. And then release that, sit back. You can shake them out, maybe flick like you're flicking some water off your fingers. I've got a hair in my mouth. Sorry. Okay, one last hand thing. So you're gonna make some fists and bring the flat edge of your fingers together, okay? And then lean forward and bring the backs of your hands to the floor. Now your thumbs are really sealed tight over your fingers, okay? And then you're gonna bring your elbows towards straight and try to keep your thumbs fisted there. And then release, shake it out. And we'll tuck our toes and sit back on our heels. I always have to recruit my pinkies. And then see if you can bring your weight down on your heels. If this is just way too much for you, you can come to more of a standing kneel. But if you can handle it, sit down and stretch the bottoms of your feet and stretch your toes. Your plantar fascia, the bottom of your feet, really needs to be stretched so it gets to be more pliable. Take your arms out to a T and then cross your right elbow under your left as you give yourself a big hug. You can stay here, or you could bring the backs of your hands together, or even take your right fingertips and wrap them into your left palm. And then release your hands, rock forward and shake out your feet. You can even kind of wiggle, slap the tops of your feet on the floor. And then we've got to do our shoulders on the other side. So we're going to sit back one more time. Sit back. You can be high the second time around if it's too much. I've got to recruit my pinky toes, use my fingers. Open your arms wide. And this time, bring your left elbow underneath. Give yourself a big hug. You can reach for your shoulder blades. You can stay there, or you can bring the backs of your hands together, or maybe even take those left fingertips into your right hand. So these are eagle pose arms. Okay. So we'll find these later in a couple different places. and positions. All right. If your feet are probably talking to you, rock forward, wiggle out your feet, and slap those toes a little bit. And then just so you're here, hands and knees, you're just gonna take your right foot back, okay, and push through that heel. And then find some circles with your ankle. So just kind of think about smushing your toes on the floor in all directions and just moving through your ankle and go both ways. Okay. Lengthen back, push through that heel, and then rock. So your hips are stacked over your knees, and then kind of contain your low ribs together. So think of that space between your lowest ribs, just engage there. So I don't want you like rock hard through your whole belly, but just find some containment and lift that right leg up off the floor. Feel some weight in that right hand, lift your left arm forward. And just feel your balance here. See how long you can be from that right heel out through your left fingertips, and try to keep a neutral spine. So keep those low ribs contained together. And then go ahead and release that down and lengthen your left leg back. Push through that heel and then find those ankle circles here. Around and around. And just kind of smush through your toes. Bending your toes in all different directions, stretching the top of your foot, and then see if you can make your circles go the other way. And then pause, float that left leg up off the floor, knit those lower ribs together, and then reach your right arm forward. And just see if you can find your balance here. And breathe. See if you can connect to that same breath in and out of your nose that's slow and smooth. So when we breathe deep into the bottoms of our lungs, we're just signaling to our body that we're safe. That's where all of our rest and digest and renew receptors are. Okay, bring your leg and foot back down, and then just push your hips back towards your heels. Reach your arms forward, and maybe your forehead will come to the floor. It doesn't have to. And your hips don't have to come all the way to your heels. Okay, just come to where it feels good in your body. Okay, push into your shins. So really push the tops of your feet and your shins into the floor and come up to hands and knees. Find that cat pose where you're really rounded, and then lean forward. Feel like you're pulling your hands back and let your heart come forward. Okay. And open through your collarbones and take your elbow creases and feel like you're pointing them forward. So you're externally rotating your upper arms. Instead of doing this, you're going to take your elbow creases forward. Okay. And then lift your hips and push yourself back into your child's pose. Let's move with our breath there. Really push into your shins. Rock yourself up to a cat. Come all the way forward. You can drop your hips. Draw your shoulder blades together on your back. Maybe even look up. And then lift your hips, push your hips back, and come to your child's pose. Move at your own pace there. So you can go faster than me. You can go slower, but we're just gonna push into our shins, come up, let our heart come forward, and then come back. So you can feel when you come forward and you find this big, long, extended back bend, cobra pose. Really push into your feet. Don't let this crunch into your lower back. But this is a great antidote to sitting hunched over a computer all day, right? We're stretching our front body instead of hunching into it. So really think about that. Okay, let's do one more. Push yourself. Come into your high cobra pose. My feet are about as wide as my mat. And then make your way back to your hands and knees. Tuck your toes. Okay, we're gonna come into downward facing dog, but I want you to really find a firm foundation in your hands. So I just want you to play a few times with just like pawing the floor. I've got a cat who kind of needs the floor, or a blanket. So do that with your hands. Feel where you feel strongest with your hands as your foundation. Okay, so you can think of hands as like feet, and you've got kind of that arch underneath on that kind of thumb side, and you can grab the floor with your fingertips and find some weight in the pinky edge, and then turn your elbow creases forward. Tuck your toes, push your hips back, and then we'll lift our hips up. Come to an upside down V, and your heels don't have to come to the floor, especially since this is our first time here. You can just pedal your legs out, bend one knee and then the other, and maybe let your heels come a little closer to the floor. And then see if you can get still with your legs, really push the floor away with your hands, and find some movement in your pelvis. So you can think of that cat and cow movement we did earlier. So just see if you can find some movement in your pelvis here. I just want you to explore. So we're not trying to be rigid and have there be one right way. We're going to use the yoga poses as ways to just explore and enjoy our bodies. Just take one more breath there. And then come high onto your tippy toes and go forward. And then just bend your knees and take a walk up to the top of your space. So you come to a standing forward fold. Let your feet be about hip distance apart, and bend into your knees enough that you're feeling the stretch in the backs of your legs and not your lower back. Okay. And then take a breath in and come to a flat back. You can bring your hands up to your knees or your shins and look forward. And then as you exhale, let yourself fold again. And we'll move there with our breath a few times. Inhale, lift to a flat back, look forward, and then exhale to fold. Inhale, last time, come to a flat back, look forward. Exhale to fold, and just pause here. See if it feels any different after we've come in and out of it a couple times. And then soften into your knees, bend into your knees, let your belly come onto your thighs, let your head hang heavy, and we'll come up one vertebrae at a time. So think about pointing your sitting bones down towards your heels, and then your pelvis comes up, and then you just stack your vertebrae one at a time till you come all the way to standing. And here we are in standing, which is called mountain pose. We're going to move through some sun salutations, even though it's going to be nighttime. The moon's coming up, but we're just going to move with our breath, okay? And get some movement in and add in some more poses. Ground down into your feet and inhale, just reach your arms up and look up. And then exhale, fold forward. See if you can hinge right at your hip crease and lead with your heart to fold. Bend into your knees as much as you need to let this be in the back of your legs, not your lower back. Inhale, find that halfway lift again. And then exhale to fold. Inhale, big step back with your left foot. And then exhale your left knee to the floor. Now feel like you're squeezing your right heel and your left knee toward each other. And inhale, bring your arms up high. And just pause here. This is another great pose to do to undo all the sitting. So let yourself feel a big stretch through the front of that left hip. And you can engage through your left bum cheek there, and then just gently grab onto your left forearm with your right hand and side bend over to your right. Get a little bit longer in that left side. And then come up. We'll find a big open twist. So reach your left arm forward and your right arm back. And just twist there. And then reach your arms high to the front. And then exhale, both hands to the floor inside their right foot. And you can toe heel that right foot out a little bit wider so that you can have your hands shoulder distance apart. And just see if you can find some circles here with your hips. Just sway your hips from side to side. So you can just kind of get into your hips. All right, we're gonna step our right foot back. You can find your table, or if you want, you can tuck your toes, let your knees float up off the floor into a plank. Now feel like you're dragging your hands back towards your feet and your feet towards your hands, whether your knees are up or down. I want you to feel like you're pulling the floor to you as you lower all the way to your belly. Okay. Untuck your toes, push into the tops of your feet, and then push into your pubic bone and just float your hands up off the floor. Engage your back body, and then bring your hands to the floor. Keep that engagement and lift your heart into a cobra. Lower than we did earlier. Elbows stay bent, draw those shoulder blades back. Still keep that feeling of dragging your hands back. And then exhale to lower. Tuck your toes, push yourself up through a table, and then back to your downward facing dog. Lifting those hips up. You can pedal your feet. Do whatever feels right there. Get your wiggles out, and then see if you can be still for a breath or two. Breathing in and out of your nose. And finding a place that feels comfortable for your shoulders. You can maybe even wiggle in your shoulders there. So you can find that external rotation, so your elbow creases are going to kind of twist up toward the ceiling. Inhale onto your tippy toes, look forward. Exhale to bend into your knees and just take a walk back up to the top of your mat. Find that standing forward fold. Your feet are parallel with each other. So you could imagine that you've got a line from the base of your second toe to the center of your heel, and those lines line up parallel with each other. Inhale, find that halfway lift, and then exhale to fold. Inhale all the way to standing. See if you can come up with a flat back this time. Reach high, and exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale and reach high. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, your right foot steps back into a lunge this time, right knee comes down. Now, find your strength in your center by feeling like you're squeezing your legs toward each other. So feel like you're dragging that left heel back, right knee forward, and then reach your arms high. And find a big opening through the front of that right hip. You can engage into your right bum. Reach high. And then use your left hand to grab onto that right arm. Lengthen up through that right side and then side bend over to your left. Kind of keep your chin lifted. And breathe in and out of your nose. And then come back up to center. And we'll find that big open twist. This time, right arm forward, left arm back. And then inhale, sweep your arms up through center. And then exhale, both hands come down inside of that left foot. And toe heel your left foot out to the left so your hands can be right under your shoulders. And just find those wiggles in your hips here in your lunge. And just notice where you feel that. Right, everything is connected. So you might feel stuff in that left leg. You might feel it in your back. But right, the slow, fluid movement is really safe. And it's a good way to explore and just enjoy your body. Step that left foot back and find your table. You can stay here with your knees down or float your knees up. And then knit those lower ribs together. Now push into your hands and see if you can spread your shoulder blades apart on your back. Feel like you're dragging your hands towards your feet and your feet towards your hands. And then pull the floor to you as you lower down. Untuck your toes, float your hands to engage your back body, and then bring your hands down. Draw your elbows in, lift your heart, find your low cobra. Exhale to lower. Inhale through hands and knees, tuck your toes, or you can just push back into child's pose with toes untucked, or you can tuck your toes and push yourself back into downward facing dog. This is primarily a breathing practice. So we want to stay connected to that smooth, calm, I am a child of God breath. And so when you feel that compromised, or when you feel on the edge of not being able to breathe in and out of your nose, just find a place that feels good to rest. So that might be in a child's pose. You could stack your hands to rest your forehead and just collect yourself. We'll make our way up to the top of our mats. Come onto your tippy toes, bend your knees, take your little walk, parallel feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale all the way to standing. Reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale and reach high. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Bend into your knees and take a big step back with your left foot and then ground your left heel. So if you were on a big clock, your left toes would be pointing to about 10 or 11, maybe 10:30, okay? Bend into your right knee so it stacks over your ankle and then reach your arms high. And this is warrior one. Really push down into that left heel. And we're just facing the short edge of our mat or facing that front leg. And just reach up. Push back into that back heel and then bend into your front knee. And then let your low ribs, they kind of want to splay out. See if you can soften them in. Okay. And let your shoulders move independently of your rib cage. So as you reach your arms up, your front shoulders soften in. And just find that smooth breath. Take one more inhale here. And then exhale. Bring your hands either to your hips, or you can interlace your fingers behind you if they reach. Draw your elbows toward each other. And then open your heart here. Take a breath in. And then you can exhale to fold. Maybe rest on that right thigh, or you can bring your right shoulder down inside your right knee and open your arms a little more. Keep drawing that right outer hip in toward the midline of your mat. And then release your hands. Inhale, sweep your arms up into your warrior one. And then just exhale, bring your hands to your heart. We're going to come to stand in a balance on our right foot. So you'll bring your left knee up into your chest and just stand. So just stand here on your right foot. And then soften into that right knee and cross your left ankle over your right knee and just sit back. And you can stay here. Or you could cross that left leg over even more. Okay, maybe use your left toes as a kickstand. Maybe wrap your toes behind your calf. Okay, I'll turn so you can see. So here's your options. Here, ankle over knee. Here, cross all the way. Maybe bring your toes down. Maybe wrap your toes behind. And then reach your arms forward. We're going to bring left elbow under right. You can give yourself a hug, or you can wrap up. So these are those eagle arms we found earlier. And squeeze everything to the midline. Smile at yourself if your balance is funny. And then we'll unwind everything. Reach your arms high. And exhale, just fold over your legs. And bend one knee and then the other. Just kind of pedal out your legs. And just kind of notice the difference from one side to the other. And then let yourself be still. And just feel the difference from one leg to the other. Inhale, find your halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, big step back with your right foot and then ground your heel. Your right toes are going to point to like 2 o'clock or maybe 1:30, okay? And you can move your left foot to the left so that your feet are hip distance apart and not on a tight rope. And then reach your arms up and find your warrior one. And just breathe here. Really push back into that right heel. You can bend into your left knee. Soften those lower ribs down. And let your breath be full. And just let yourself feel good in your body, right? Like it's fun to kind of do silly things, right? And often we get really self-conscious. It might feel silly, but just enjoy that feeling even. Take one more breath here. And then exhale, hands to your hips or interlace fingers behind your back. But see if you can do it with the unusual thumb on top this time. So not what you're used to. And then draw your elbows together. Open your heart. Take a breath in, and then you can fold. You can rest on your thigh, or you can bring that left shoulder down inside of your knee. Maybe open your shoulders a little more. Just take one more breath in and out of your nose. And then on your next breath in, just come on up. Release your hands, reach them high. And then exhale, bring your hands to your heart. So you can bring that weight into that left foot. You'll come to balance, bringing your right knee into your chest. And then soften into that left knee and just cross your right ankle over. And stay here for a breath or two. And just start to kind of greet your hip. And then if you're ready, you can cross that right leg all the way over. Maybe use that right foot as a kickstand on the floor to help your balance. Maybe just let it float. Maybe wrap it behind. And then reach your arms out in front of you. Right elbow underneath this time. You can give yourself a hug or bring the backs of your hands together or wrap your fingers, your right fingers into your left palm. And you're just squeezing everything toward the center. And take one more breath. Unwind yourself. Shake it out. And then find a forward fold. Bend your knees as much as you need to. And shake your head. And nod your head. Okay. And then bring your feet together so your big toes touch. And you've got a little bit of space between your heels. And then bend into your knees and just float your arms up. Squeeze your knees together. And then soften those low ribs in. Reach your hands back. It's chair pose, or sometimes awkward pose. Is that a better name? Okay, we're gonna come down to a low squat. So let your heels lift and come down, balance on your toes. Bring your hands to your heart. And now we're gonna try to make our way to a boat pose. So that's where we're just balancing on our bum on the floor. Okay, so you can use your hands if you need to. And bring your heels to the floor, let your knees spread. And then see if you can bring your bum down And just float your legs up. Lengthen through your spine. Maybe reach your arms forward. Maybe lengthen your legs a little more. And then we'll just rock forward, bring the soles of your feet together, and let your knees go wide. Okay, this is a good place to sit on your blanket. And I'll show you why. I want you to feel for your tailbone, the very end of your spine. See if you can find it. So yeah, you're gonna have to touch your own bum. If it's underneath you, our work is to get that tailbone out so that your pelvis can be upright. And for most of us, it's nice to have some help and just to sit on something folded, just the bony part of your bum, just to kind of help give your pelvis that little tilt it needs. And so see if you can sit upright and just hold on to your ankles and take a breath in, and then let yourself fold over your legs. You can reach your arms forward. Think more about lengthening through your heart and just breathing in a friendly way into your stretch. So this is one of my favorite poses on crampy days of my period. I'll show you a couple of other things that are really helpful. But this just kind of forward folds are really calming. And whether you're here, it can be really nice to find like a big pillow or do this onto a chair or a couch and just really let yourself rest and relax. We'll just take one more breath here. And then walk your hands in. And then just let your legs spread out. So we're still sitting on that blanket. Let your legs go out wide. 90 degrees or maybe a little wider. You don't have to go to your max. You probably won't get as much of a forward fold. But think about knees and toes pointing straight up at the ceiling and your tailbone is coming out from underneath you. Okay, if your tailbone is really tucked under, then just bring your hands behind you and use your hands as leverage. And you can think about the space between your pubic bone, the front of your pelvis, and your tailbone becoming parallel with the floor. That's step one, okay? And then if that happens, you can hinge right at your hip crease to fold forward. So we want the forward fold to come here from your pelvis moving and not from your lower back. We don't want to over stress your lower back here. So just find a place where you can just be moving right from your hip creases as you fold with your knees and toes pointing in the same direction. And we'll just take 2 more breaths in and out of your nose. And then just walk your hands back in towards your legs. Take your hands underneath your knees and just bring your feet together. Kind of come off of your blanket. And now I'm going to unfold it so it's a bit longer and then roll it into a little noodle. Now, this can be nice like with multiple, so it's bigger, but we'll just do it with 1 here. And then lay your blanket in your space long ways, and then you're gonna sit with the back of your pelvis toward that, okay? Just let your knees be bent, feet flat on the floor, and then come to lay down. So you want your head to be supported by this. So you'll just kind of have to play with the placement of it. But you're just going to let it open your heart. And then you can bring the soles of your feet together and your knees wide. It might feel good to bring one hand to your heart, like left hand on my heart, right hand on my belly. And just return to that breath that we started at the beginning. Now, if your legs in this arrangement just does not feel good for your hips or your knees, you just straighten your legs on the ground. And just let yourself relax for 2 more breaths. And then you have a choice. You can just stay here with the blanket underneath you. This is the other one of my very favorite period cramp remedy poses is feet together, knees wide with a bolster under your back. And it can feel good to have yourself elevated even more. So maybe 3 or 4 rolled blankets all together so they make a big bolster. So you can keep that bolster under your back, or you can just gently roll off of it and move it out to the side and maybe bring it underneath your knees and lay flat on your back. And then when you get on your back, see if you can just kind of wiggle into the floor. Wherever you are, just find some wiggles there. And then completely let go. And take a big conscious breath in through your nose. And then exhale through your mouth and let your exhale take as long as it possibly can to leave your body. Let it be slow, slow, slow. Then take another big, deep breath consciously in through your nose. And then a really slow as can be, exhale. And then just let go of the effort of breathing. Just let your breath breathe itself. And see if you can find all the places of your body that are connected with the floor and let those places relax and spread. Relax your face. Let your eyes be heavy in their sockets. You can swallow and then relax the root of your tongue, relax your jaw. Just let the tip of your tongue just gently rest behind your top front teeth. Let your throat feel open and relaxed. And let your collarbones feel like they're just spreading wide, and let your shoulders feel heavy in the floor. Really feel the weight of the back of your head relaxing down into the floor. Feel the whole length and weight of your arms relax, and let your fingers just gently curl in their natural configuration. And feel your spine on the floor, the places where it touches, the places where it's lifted. Just think of the miraculous strength of those curves of your spine. And feel your rib cage settled on the floor. Feel it expand and contract with your breath. Think of the miraculous cage that protects your lungs and your heart. And feel your heart beat. And feel the contents of your belly. Just relax and spread. Feel the back of your pelvis on the floor and let that relax. Completely relax your pelvis, your pelvic floor. Feel your thighs, the backs of your thighs, the tops of your thighs. Just let those relax. And feel the length of your lower legs. Feel the backs of your knees relax, the tops of your knees. Let your ankles relax. Completely relax and let go of any effort in your feet. Just let them fall where they will. Completely relax. And then bring your whole body into your awareness. And see if you can relax your body even just a little bit more. And remember the truth that your breath is always saying. Hum on the inhale, saw on the exhale, which means I am that. I am that. I am that part of me that's existed for eternity. That is divine and powerful and beautiful. That's what I'm defined by. That part deep inside. And it gets to express through this temple body. Right? But the things outside don't define you. Your breath is saying, I am a child of God, alive in this body that is a miraculous gift. And start to deepen your breath. Just let it come consciously in. You might find a little bit of wiggling in your fingers and toes. Maybe rock your head from side to side. And then bring your hands together in front of your heart and just rub your hands till your palms get warm. And then take those warm palms and just place them on your eyes. And shut out all the light. Let your fingers come into your hairline. You can give yourself a little bit of a massage there in your hairline. Maybe use your thumbs to do some circles in your temples. You could use your fingers to massage your forehead. You can bring your hands down to the sides of your jaw, or even push your ear closed. Take your fingertips and just rake them down the sides of your throat. And just kind of drain all those lymph nodes there. Just kind of rake the sides of your neck. And then you can bring your fingertips behind your ears to the top behind your ears on your skull, your mastoid bone there, and just press firmly into your skull with your fingertips. And then you can just pull that down to the base of your skull, the top of your neck, maybe knead out the back of your neck. You can knead out your shoulders. Just find any last things that will really nurture your body back awake. And then release your arms, just bend to your knees. Then just gently roll yourself over onto one side. And then you can push your way back up to seated. Find a cross-legged seat or a comfortable kneeling seat. Just bring your hands together in front of your heart. Just bow your head, offer some gratitude to Heavenly Father Find an inner smile. You can offer some gratitude to your body. I'll end by saying, the divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Namaste. Thank you, young women and leaders, for playing yoga with me today. If anyone has questions or anything, I'll unmute everyone. But hopefully everyone feels nice and relaxed for bed. Interesting, it won't let me unmute you. All right, so you can unmute yourselves if anyone has questions or if anyone wants to say anything. Or if you need to have a closing prayer or anything.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Does anybody have any questions? Comments? Okay, Katie, do you want to close us up?
Oh, I'll just have a comment and just say thanks again.
Yeah.
Because I knew a little bit of that, but I didn't know all of those things. And it's just so nice to have kind of the gospel parallels when we do that. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Bryn, would you like to give the closing prayer?
Yeah. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Please bless what we've learned today and we can put it into our daily lives and feel relief and fill the spirit with us. And please bless that anyone that's sick or injured can get better, and especially due to COVID, that they'll get better. And please bless have a good rest of the night tonight. And we say these things in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Thank you once again. And girls, I can send you the link to this so you can do it again. And we'll send it to whoever wasn't able to come also.
Yep, that'll be fun.